Not ready yet. I'm sorry. You got your exercise. Okay. We are on Lamed Aleph of the bed, 31b. 31b. I'm guessing it's two. It had in the front, it had the depth. There's a Hebrew one right over here. If you want this, I mean, the old style right here.
Yeah, those are
You're a little bit more used to.
small luxuries. You get more at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, 31. You're right. 31b1. No, really. 31b2 on the first column. Tanarabana. We were discussing the different enactments that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai made. Good morning, Mr. Amos. Different enactments that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai made for the Jewish community, head of the Bezdin, head of the court, 31b2. So now the Gemara is going to talk about a very interesting enactment that's very applicable today. Tanarabana, the rabbis taught, Eina kohanim rashayim la'alot l'duchan b'sandalim l'duchan. The Kohanim are not allowed to go with their sandals, with their shoes to Duchan. Now, that means when they go up to Duchan, they have to remove their shoes. Now, the question is, why do they have to remove their shoes? Because the Gemara says, this Gemara is in Sota. The Gemara says, different reasons why the Kohen has to remove his shoes. One reason is given is because he might have dirt on his shoes, and it's not honorable for the tzibur. It's not honorable for the tzibur to see, because let's say when he picks up his hands to do the duchening, even though you're not supposed to look at the Kohen when he picks up his hands, well, let's say but when he picks up his hands in the duchening, his garments, his shirt or his clothing raises, and when his clothing raises, then his shoes become more exposed, and if there is dirt on his shoes, so that's not respect to the tzibur to see their shoes with the shoes of the Kohanim with dirt on them. Right. So therefore. So based on this reason, some people, there are poskim that hold that according to this reason, the only problem is if they go up on the platform where the shoes are more visible. But if they're on the ground, like Ralph says, then it's mutar. It's mutar for them. They don't have to remove their shoes. Say it again. I say, according to this opinion, they don't have to remove the shoes. But right. However, right, they have to wash their hands. But that's a different reason. But this is so this is I'm reading now from the Yalkut Yosef, Kishrachonara Simikuf Chavches. But he says, however, others argue. And they hold that even on the ground, even without going on the platform, there is no allowance. The rabbis did not make a distinction whether you're standing on the ground or whether you're going up on the Duchan. The Gemara just says, Kohanim that are doing the Birkat Kohanim, they have to go ahead and remove their shoes. That's the takana. And also some say, there's another reason in the Gemara, but according to the other reason in the Gemara, it will be forbidden. It will be forbidden. The other reason the Gemara is that if he has his shoes on, sometimes his shoes might be untied, and he'll be busy tying his shoes. Surely he'll go down. He won't. Instead of doing the Birkat Kohanim, he'll be busy tying his shoes. And if he gets distracted tying his shoes, then people might say, "What happened? He was a Kohen. Why is he tying his shoes?" Most probably he's not worthy to go up to do the Birkat Kohanim. He's not doing the Birkat Kohanim because he's busy tying the shoes. But they don't know the reason he was tying the shoes. They might think he's not doing Birkat Kohanim because he's unfit to do the Birkat Kohanim because maybe he's a son of a divorcee, maybe there's, and therefore, in order that people should not make a bad mistake against the lineage of that Kohen, the rabbi said, don't have shoes, because those shoes have shoelaces. Now, according to that reason, if you have shoes without shoelaces, I'm just thinking out loud, shouldn't be shouldn't be a problem for this. So maybe the Kohanim, but if they don't have laces, they can easily take them off. That's true, right? But I'm saying, but meaning if you have the laces, that's where the problem, more of the problem, according to that second reason, would be. But again, but according to the other opinion that says that Chacham did not make a distinction whether you're on the ground, when he's on the ground, and whether he's on the platform. So whether he has laces or he doesn't have laces, according to that, it would be a problem. The minig pashut, he says, the common custom in the Holy Land of Israel, the Kohanim take off their shoes under all circumstances. Whether they go up on the platform, they're on the ground, they take off the shoes in Israel. However, and he said, that is the appropriate way to do it. But chutz la'aretz, outside of Israel, like over here, there are Kohanim that are lenient. And they do Birkat Kohanim with their shoes on while they're on the ground, not on the platform, because, and since they have what to rely on, because according to that reason that said that the only problem, there's an opinion that said that there wouldn't be a problem because there's no issue of the dirt when they're not on the since they have what to rely on, don't be strong with them about telling them you have to take off your shoes. Why? There's a concern, he says. If you protest against them, maybe they won't do the Birkat Kohanim at all. Maybe there's a concern they'll find it's too much of a hassle. You know what? If I have to come to shul and take off my shoes, it's another. Forget about it. What? Right. But he says that Kohanim, but the Kohanim that are mahadrim b'mitzvot, that do the mitzvah in the most beautiful way, they always take off their shoes before Birkat Kohanim. Yeah, it would seem that washing the hands is independent of having shoes and not having shoes. Washing your hands, you're going up to do, you're saying the bracha, Birkat Kohanim, in honor, that's what I would presume, in honor of that holy act, you have to do, when you wash your hands, have to be. Some people don't. Interesting. That's interesting. I presume, you know what, I think those people who don't, Ralph, most probably they're relying on the fact they washed their hands earlier. Maybe that's why they're not, I presume that why they're not washing their hands. I think I saw, it's brought down before a person has relations with his wife that they're supposed to wash their hands. Right, left, right, left, right, left. And the reason over there was also because of this holy act. I think I have to look at the, I saw from Mordechai Eliyahu, the former chief rabbi, I think he says the reason is, there's washing the hands before the act, there's washing the hands after the act. And before the act, when I recall, he says, is because of the great mitzvah, the mitzvah that he's going to do. Something like that. Maybe we could look at the language another time about the washing of the hands over there. And also, and the Yalkut Yosef Kishach concludes, and this is what you should follow. If you could, this should be the model. The model should be to take off your shoes before all the Kohanim, even outside the land of Israel, the way that we should encourage. But again, he's concerned about making a protest. If he's concerned that maybe if it's going to cause them to not to come to Birkat Kohanim. But you, as a rabbi, you need to know your audience. You know what I'm saying? If your audience are people, obviously Rafari was strongly encouraging people to take off their shoes. He knows his audience. It didn't say that it's forbidden, right?
Really should do it, but I don't think it's his job. He didn't want to
I heard him once speak upstairs about it. And I think as a result of that, one of the Kohanim started taking off the shoes.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
obligated to tell them what you should do. Yeah, but you have a.
Right. By the way, it says, by the way, that a rabbi that everybody likes is a sign that maybe the rabbi's not doing his job. Sometimes the rabbi got to say certain things to the people that they need to hear, even if they don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying?
It's such a big deal. It's not like, I'm not asking him to find it by mistake.
Sometimes it's the small things in life that people have.
Right?
Okay, so the Gemara says again, Tanarabanan, Eina Kohanim Rasha'im La'alot B'Sadaleya. The Kohanim are not allowed, don't have permission to do Birkas Kohanim with their sandals. And Zuhi, and this the Echa Meshe, Teisha Takanot Shitkin Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. So one of the 9, morning everybody, one of the 9 enactments Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai made. And now the Gemara now is going to, one of the 9 enactments that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai made, Shid the High Pirka, 6 in this parak. In our parak, we have, Baruch Hashem, we started this parak, we've learned about 6 enactments. What were the 6 enactments? So we learned in the previous Mishnayot, after the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, he enacted that you should blow the shofar on Rosh Hashana, that if Rosh Hashana comes down on Shabbat, any place that there's a Bezdin, good morning, any place that there's a Bezdin, that there's a court, if there's a court, then there's a question, does it have to be a Sanhedrin or not a Sanhedrin? You take the lulav is taken on Shabbat of Rosh Hashanah. That was the enactment. We don't do that today because we're going like the opinion maybe that you need to have a Sanhedrin. We don't say that if you have a court, you could take the lulav. If Rosh Hashanah comes on a Shabbat, that you take the lulav. Number 2, lulav, we have an obligation to take the lulav for 7 days of Sukkot. And that we do today. Meaning, when the Beit HaMikdash was around, the only time they took the lulav for 7 days, Asaf, was where? Was in the Beit HaMikdash. Outside the Beit HaMikdash, some say outside Yerushalayim, some say only Machloket, all 7 days was in Yerushalayim, also on a Torah level, or only just in the Mikdash. But outside that, you had no obligation, there's no mitzvah to take the lulav when the Beit HaMikdash was around. You were living in Bavel, you were living in Tel Aviv, there's no mitzvah of lulav for 7 days. There's a mitzvah of lulav when the Beit HaMikdash was around for 1 day, if you were outside the Mikdash, you're outside Jerusalem. But now we have an obligation to take the lulav for how many days? 7 days. It's a rabbinic law. We have a Torah law today to take out lulav the first day. Here in New York, we have an obligation to take a lulav the first day of Sukkot on a Torah level. On a rabbinic level, we take it for all 7 days. And Shabbat, we don't take it at all. Right. Even though if there would be a Sanhedrin, then we would take it on Shabbat.
But you're saying back then they
In the time of the Holy Temple, the only place in the temple. Exactly. It's 7 days. Outside the temple, 1 day. Everybody had to do it the first day of the holiday is biblical. Wherever you are in the world, even Shabbat. Even Shabbat, there was a biblical mitzvah. Now, the rabbi said when the Beit HaMikdash was around, when the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, the rabbi said on the first day of the holiday, Beit HaMikdash is destroyed, we don't take the lulav on Shabbat. We're afraid you might come to carry the lulav. Places where there's no eruv, and they might come to carry the lulav. So therefore, you don't take the lulav on Shabbat, unless there was a Sanhedrin. If you were by a Sanhedrin, when there was the court of 71 there, that's regarding shofar. Sorry, shofar is about if you have a court of 70, front of the court, you can go you blow the shofar on Shabbat. So again, let's read it again. Enactment number 1 is that you blow the shofar on Rosh Hashanah that comes down on Shabbat. You blow the shofar. Once the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, you blow the shofar wherever there is a Sanhedrin. You blow the shofar on Shabbat. Number two, the lulav is taken for 7 days. That's what we do today. So when you take the lulav, remember, we have to remember, when you were going to take the lulav from day 2 to day 7, you have to think about the fact that the reason why you're taking the lulav on day 2 to day 7 is to remember that in the Holy Temple, when it was around, they took the lulav for 7 days. It's a zecher lemikdash. It's a remembrance of what? You hear that, Adam? To remember the mikdash. Number three is that the 16th of Nisan, the second day of Pesach, you can't eat to the new crop, the new grains, the wheat, the 5 grains, until the end of the second day of Pesach. That was another enactment, which that's the day of the waving, right? The day of the waving means the day of the korban, the omer would be brought, which is the second, that's called waving. That's referring to the waving of the korban. The second day, you can't go ahead and eat the new crop until the end of that day. Number 4, and he made an enactment. Good morning, Mark.
Morning, Rabbi.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
They made an enactment that the Edut HaChodesh, that the witnesses of the new month, you could accept them. They made, once the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, he said you could accept the witnesses the whole day. Morning, Sam, because when the Beit HaMikdash was around, they did not accept the witnesses past the afternoon time that they brought the afternoon korban. And once the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, they said now you could accept witnesses the whole day. And then number 5, in our mission that we had, that the witnesses, if they saw the new moon, we don't give them the difficulty, the tircha, to go to follow wherever the head of the court goes. Meaning, if the head of the Beis Din, the head of the court, there's a special law that the head of the court is supposed to say, sanctify the new moon. If the head of the court went to a neighbor somewhere else temporarily, the witnesses do not have to follow the head of the court. They go to the designated place of the general court. And the 6th thing is what we just said now, that the Kohanim are supposed to take off their shoes when they do the Birkat Kohanim. And that was an enactment of Yocham Zakkai. And then we explained before why why some people are lenient if they don't go up on the Duchan, if they don't go up on the platform. So some are lenient, they don't remove their shoes, but the Yitzchak Yosef writes, it's definitely better that everybody should take off their shoes. That's definitely a better way to go. But the ones that don't do it, you don't need to protest against them especially if there's a concern that it might cause them to refrain from doing Birkat Kohanim at all. Yes.
So it's like the head of the court. I always had the impression that a bet team operated on either unanimous or majority of votes. Why? What's this concept?
Right. There's a special law. Morning, Simon. There's a special law that the head of the court is the one that's supposed to say that he has a special role in the sanctification of the new month every month. That he is the one. I think I saw that it might be even from a biblical source, that he is the one that's supposed to make the official declaration.
Okay.
And even though he's the one who's supposed to make the official declaration, but we want to make it easier for the witnesses, because if you're going to tell them, the head of the court happened, something came up, he had to travel somewhere, and you have to follow him, and you have to go to where he is, that might be a difficulty, and the witnesses might not want to come the next time. There's a very big concern how people look at things, and when things are difficult for people, sometimes people just say, you know what, if it's difficult, I don't want to do it next time. And therefore the rabbis are very concerned because they want witnesses to come to tell us about the new moon. The idach. Now v'chada, the Pirkei Kama. One, something regarding the first we had in the first parak. What was in the first parak? That after the destruction of Beit HaMikdash, the witnesses should only come. Now, there's a law that the witnesses can actually mechalel haShabbat. The witnesses can actually desecrate, if they need to desecrate the Shabbat in order to come to the court to say that they've seen the new moon, they're allowed to actually come to the court. There's a biblical source that says you can actually desecrate the Shabbat. They need to carry something, they need to do certain things in order to get to the court to tell them about the new moon. What's the reason for that? It's because on Rosh Chodesh there's special korban, special offerings. We have, like we know, we pray, have the musaf on Rosh Chodesh. We have a musaf. What is musaf? Musaf means the extra offerings. There's added offerings on Rosh Chodesh. So we need the witnesses to come to tell us today is Rosh Chodesh. So now we're going to bring the new offerings. So therefore, they were allowed to go ahead and desecrate the Shabbat if they needed to in order to go ahead and help facilitate. Just like, there's a mitzvah of Brit Milah. A mitzvah of circumcision, the law is you could do it on Shabbat. Even though it's a desecration of Shabbat, you're cutting off the foreskin, you're making a wound, you're fixing the child from being someone who's not circumcised to circumcised. The Torah allows you to slaughter an animal in the Beit HaMikdash on Shabbat. Slaughtering is one of the third day malachot of Shabbat, yet the Torah allows it. So there's certain things that are allowed on Shabbat. So originally, when the Beit HaMikdash was around, they were allowed to go ahead and desecrate the Shabbat in order to come to the court. However, once the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, there's no korban anymore. Therefore, there's no allowance, even though we need to sanctify the new moon, that no one Rosh Chodesh is, there's no korban. Therefore, he said, no more desecrating the Shabbat to come into court to tell us what's the first day of the month, except the month of Tishrei and the month of Nisan, because Pesach is in Nisan, and the Yom Tovim are in Sukkot and so on are in the month of Tishrei, and we got to know when Rosh Chodesh is in order to know what the right date for the holiday is, and therefore he kept that you're allowed to go ahead and travel and do that, whatever you need to do on Shabbat, whatever is allowed to be done, even if it's desecration of Shabbat, but not only those 2 months, once the Beit HaMikdash is destroyed. I want to wish everyone a beautiful day. Mark, good to see you. Take care. Take care, Mark.
Thank you. I just got back last night.
Welcome back. We'll see my point. We start at 6:15, and I know it's a little early, but anytime. Thank you. Everybody counts. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.